beautiful sunny day. I know it's a little bit weird with all the lines on my mat, but those are the windows. So let's just start by finding a comfortable standing position. So not comfortable sagging, but just feeling the feet, maybe lifting the kneecaps, feeling what that does to the rest of the body. Taking a breath in, lifting the belly button up. So not really pressing the belly button back, because then you're gonna start to round the spine. So lifting up so that you can find length in the lower back. And then lifting up in the sternum so that your breastbone is actually lifting and bringing the shoulders gently back. The shoulder blades are gonna go down. So don't push them together. We wanna have an open chest, but we wanna have an open chest without too much muscle effort. So just opening the window a little bit. So open chest, wide shoulders. So just see if you can find that sensation of pressing the shoulders out, and what happens in the chest, what happens in the shoulder blades. And then lengthen your neck, push the crown of your head up, and gently tilt the chin just a little bit. The arms are relaxed, so I don't like to be in mountain pose with my arms stretched out, my fingers stretched out. I like this to be a natural pose that I can practice everywhere. And the more you pay attention to this pose, it's really going to have an influence on your posture. So just for a moment, observe in your body. You can close your eyes if you want. It's possible you start to sway. So it's your body looking for its center of gravity without any external references. So just let your body sway. Trust that it's not gonna let you tip over. If it's not comfortable with the eyes closed, just have them half open, just gently gazing at something on the floor. And just observe your body. Is there a place where you're holding more? Or is there a place where you feel, oh, I forgot that I had this part of my body. Maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to it. So just observing. And let's take a breath in. Feel the lungs filling up, the chest lifting maybe a little bit more. And as you exhale, roll the shoulders back a little bit more. Just watch out that you don't compensate with moving the head forward. Inhale one more time. And exhale. Bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to separate the feet, find that same strength into the legs. So maybe you need to work a little bit more with your bum muscles for the moment. And then bend your knees. Make sure that your knees are going towards the middle toes. So just bending slightly. We're not very wide. The toes are not necessarily pointing out too much. So just bending. Feel how you're standing here. And then press into your feet and come back up. This time, bring the heels right behind your toes. And we're going to bend the knees again. So how are the sensations in the knees? It's just to become aware of what we do with our feet will have a big influence onto the knees. Maybe sit a little bit deeper. You can place your hands onto your thighs. And we're going to start to press the left shoulder to the right. So the chest is moving towards the floor and then going to the other side. And then just move a little bit. The legs are staying at the same height. So we're not really moving in the legs. The legs are supporting us. And we're really trying to find that movement in the spine, in the lower back, the shoulders. So you can really bring that front shoulder down. One more time each side. And then coming back to center. Bring the feet a little bit closer. I cannot see you, so I don't know how much of a distance you have. And then sit a little bit deeper. So we don't want to start the ski season like this, but this is very good to work the quads, prepare for the ski season. Maybe go a little bit deeper, see if you can keep your spine long so you can be forward or you can be up. And then slowly start to lift the hips up And drop your head, drop your upper body, drop your arms. No sensation in the lower back. So you're only gonna stretch your legs as much as it's okay for your lower back. Your head is heavy, your upper body is heavy. Shake your head, yes. No, maybe gentle circles with your head, enjoying the weight of the head, opening the cervical spine. And then grab the opposite elbows and now swing from side to side. So we don't want to have too much movement into the legs here. We don't want to block the knees between the hips and the feet. And then place the hands down. So maybe you're going to have to bend your knees. Heel to the feet together till they're hip distance apart. And then we're going to do the same thing. So if you're quite stiff in the hamstrings, by all means take a block or a book and start to press the hips up, dropping the head down. So we're gently warming up here. Inhale, exhale. I'm just going to turn on my mat. So folding forward. And then so whether your hands are on the floor or on a block, bring them a little bit closer to your feet or the block a bit closer to your feet. And then take a step back with the right foot. So not too much, but not too little of a step. The first thing, your knees can be bent to start. So the first thing, we want to align the hips with the front of the mat. And then you're going to start to press in the back heel to lengthen the back leg. And then press in the front foot to lengthen the front leg. So maybe that means that your hands are coming up, but you want to continue to drop your upper body. So every exhale, your spine is rounded here. That's okay. Maybe you feel a stretch into your feet, in the calf muscles, behind your knee, hamstrings. Absolutely nothing in the lower back. So make sure that your front hip moves back a little bit. It always wants to help you. So if you're with a block, by all means, maybe you need to be quite high. And if the block is too low, you can always take a chair and place your hands on a chair or even a countertop. And then slowly bend both knees, coming back to center and go over to the other side. So right foot forward, left foot back. Keep the knees bent to align your hips with the front. And then start to press the back heel back. So you really want to press the heel back, bring the knee back, lengthen the leg, and then lengthen the front leg. And then see where you reach with your hands and start to fold forward. Pushing the right hip back so the front hip goes back, the back hip goes front to keep that alignment with the front of your mat. Drop your head. And then slowly coming back to the center, heel to your feet back to hip distance, bend your knees, lengthen your spine, roll the shoulders back so we're gonna have a straight spine and then press into your feet. So nothing is really happening into your lower back. Your core your abdominals are active, helping to bring you straight up. And exhale, bring the hands in front of the heart. So we're going to loosen a little bit in the shoulders. So to start, bring the arms in a T, roll the shoulders back and really bring the shoulder blades down onto your ribs. So your lower ribs are receiving the point of your shoulder blades. And then start to make little circles with your arms. So we're really moving the upper arm bone into your shoulder socket. And the shoulder blades are hardly moving here. So very stable into the shoulder blades. Probably you feel a little bit of work into the upper arm. And then change direction. And then bring the arms down. Shake it out a little bit. We're going to keep the left arm alongside the body. And we're going to roll the right one back. So you can really move your spine here. So bring the arm a little bit forward, the elbow a little bit up and back. And then start to make the circle with your arm a little bit bigger. So your arm is getting straighter and straighter. If you're still swinging from one side to the other, slowly come into a forward-backward movement. So here, maybe you're not going, when you reach up, maybe your shoulder doesn't allow you to go straight back. That's okay, don't worry about it. So just move slowly so you can observe. And then bring the right arm alongside. And then start to do the same thing with the left. So right arm stays there, doesn't really do anything, but you want to really move as if you're trying to, it's tickling within your shoulder socket and you're like trying to reach what is actually tickling. And then starting to lengthen the left arm, making the circles bigger and bigger. And then moving forwards, backwards, instead of swinging the whole upper body. One more circle, and then coming back. Both shoulders back and down, and forward and up and back and down. Sounds a little bit like an aerobic class, but and then release. So coming back to your mountain pose, take a breath in. Really feel the soles of the feet, the cushion of your toes pressing down. Kneecap. So now we're going to go into a little bit more a stronger Tadasana, keeping the shoulders neutral, down and back. And then exhale, bring the chin to the chest. Start to roll your head from side to side. So right ear to right shoulder. The rest of the body doesn't move. So for me, my muscles in my legs are working. My core is active. My chest remains open. Shoulders are rolling back. I'm just doing this little movement with the neck. One more. And then coming back to center, keeping the chin down. Bring the hands behind your head, so where the cervical spine and the skull are touching. Take a deep breath in. Open your shoulders, open your elbows. Bring the shoulder blades down. And then exhale. See if you can go a little bit deeper. So pressing the head down, but don't move your shoulders forward. So you want to keep the spine as long as possible. We're just going to go for that extra stretch in the upper back and in the neck. So your elbows can come closer to each other. And then slowly come up, opening the elbows. And then from here, just bring your head resting into your hands. So gently looking up to the ceiling. No stretching here, it's just a rest into your hands. And then coming back and release. So we're going to do our first balance, and we'll do it with the arms as well. So I like to start with my arms here. It's eagle pose, so I like to start with my arms and then add the legs. So open up the arms again. Bring the right arm underneath the left, so elbows on top of each other. And then make sure the elbows remain, and then bring the palms together. If your palms don't touch, don't force it by bending the wrist. So you want to then keep your wrists straight and maybe your fingers pointing up. If this is too much for you, for your shoulders, give yourself a hug and walk your hands back as much as possible. If you can, hug at the height of the shoulder blades, not necessarily the shoulders. So from here, see if you can lift the elbows a little bit. So sensations in the upper back, and then bend your knees slightly, and we're going to bring the weight onto the left leg. So first is test our balance, lift the right leg up, and then bring the right leg over. So first option is to keep the toes on the floor, or bring the foot, second option, bring the foot against the leg, or maybe you can wrap your toes around. You want to press your thighs together. Inhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. Don't forget also working with the arms. So there's a lot of things happening here If you fall out, try to fall out elegantly. And then slowly coming back, release and fly it out. Take a breath in. So again, we're starting in Tadasana, always. Bring the arms to the side. This time left underneath right. And again, go wherever your arms bring you. So the arms, the elbows, most of the time are flexible. So it's really in the shoulders and the upper back. If you have injuries on your shoulders, you want to be careful with this pose. You don't want to force it. So once you find the pose with your arms, lift the elbows a little bit, roll the shoulders back. If you want to have more sensation, you can always bring the forearms a little bit more to the front. Bend the knees. Find your stability on your right leg. So come onto your left toes and then bring the left leg over the right and choose what's right for you here. And it can be different than the other side. Balancing is very dependent on left brain, right brain. So make sure that your hips don't move to the right. So bring your hips back, compress your thighs together. Maybe you're bending the knee a little bit more, and for most important is gazing at something that doesn't move. Going a little bit deeper. And then release. And again, let the eagle fly away. So very gentle, relaxed, smooth. So we're going to come to the front of the mat. Coming in your Tadasana. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, reach the arms up. So push your feet down, reach your arms up, as if you're trying to find length in your waist. So your tailbone goes gently down. Take a breath in, keep your arms lifted, and then slowly from your fingertips, you're going to go back. Your head is going to go back. Your cervical spines go bending back. Your thoracic spine bending back. Your tailbone goes down. You don't want to compress too much in the lower back. If you want to go further, you can go further. Make sure you're still breathing. Don't push your hips forward. This is not banana pose. You want to keep your hips on top of your heels. I know that you can't really check it, but play with it. Explore, press your hips forward, and then come back. Lengthening in the waist again. That's going to help you to avoid compression in the lower back. And then coming back to center and release. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. So bend your knees in time. Place your hands down. Continue to fold forward. Bring the hands next to the feet and bring the right leg back and the left leg back. And we're gonna go into our plank pose. So if plank is too much, option 2, just bring the knees down. So don't walk your knees forward. If you wanna go onto your knees, just drop them down vertically. So from here, spread out your fingers, press your heels back, tailbone goes towards the heels, strong core, in case you didn't notice. So you really want to avoid falling in your hips. And then slowly bring the knees down, turn the eye of the elbows to the front, bring the chest down and the chin down. So your bum is lifted here. You really want to exaggerate that movement, lifting the bum up. And then press your hands down, and as if you wanted to pull your mat back, you're going to glide your chest in between your arms, untuck your toes, and come into a Cobra. So the neck follows the line of the spine, so we're not looking forward here. Make sure you don't press too much into the floor with your hands, so that the lower back gets some strengthening. So the lower back is doing a lot of work here. Inhale, exhale. And slowly coming all the way down. Tuck your toes, come onto your knees, and we're gonna move back into plank, and I wanna do today, maybe break down a little bit the upward facing dog. So upward facing dog on its own is a little bit easier than when you do it as a transition pose. But first, we're gonna feel the sensation of what we should let go and where we should hold into upward dog. So press your heels back, come back into your plank. And we never go like this into upward dog, but it's just, you're gonna start to drop your hips down. So your legs are still active, so your legs are not dropping with, it's really the weight of your hips that are dropping down. Roll the shoulders back, lift your chest. So you might feel the skin of your belly stretching a little bit here. And then let's come back into plank. If you need a break, come onto your knees. If you need a break for your wrist, stand up and shake it out. So we're gonna do one more time here. So as you know, when we come into upward dog, we roll over our toes. In the beginning, it's very painful, but we get used to it. So now we're gonna come onto a plank, but onto the front of our toes. So we're not curling the toes, we're just on the front of our toes. Your hands can be a little bit behind your shoulders. We're still in the plank, and then again, drop into the hips, roll the shoulders back, and open the chest. So this is what it should feel like in upward facing dog. And then now you would be rolling over your toes to come into downward dog. So we're just going to tuck our toes, come onto your knees, and then come into your downward dog. So downward dog eventually becomes a relief, become a pose where you really can come home. Walk your dog a little bit, just moving your feet, the ankles, the knees. Bend both knees and then lift your hips up, press into your hands. Roll the eye of the elbows up so that you can really widen into your shoulders, your upper back. Inhale, lift up again. And then as you exhale, if you can lengthen your legs, go for it. So you can notice if your pubic bone comes towards your belly, then keep your knees bent. You want to keep your spine neutral. And then slowly bring your knees down. We're going to give a little bit of relief to the wrists. So come into child's pose. Bring the arms in the back. Maybe shake out your hands a little bit. And take a few breaths into child's pose. So you can separate your knees or keep them together, whatever works best for you. One more breath here. And then reach your arms forward. Let's come back into our downward dog. So take the time to really arrive into downward dog. Even if it's a transition pose, feel what happens in your downward dog. We're going to lift the right leg up and bend the right knee and open the hips. So the right hip moves on top of the left. You're pressing your right foot back. Maybe your left heel comes a little bit closer to the floor. Press into your hands equally. So it's very possible that there's a lot of weight on the left hand. So see if you can bring it back equally. Opening up, lengthening that left leg. And then lift the right leg up again and bring the right foot between your hands. We're going to drop the left knee down. I'm just going to change sides because it's very dark in that corner. So place your left hand onto the floor, left wrist under the left shoulder, and just see if you can settle into your hips here. So are you holding into the hips to be able to put your hand down? If that's the case, take a block, come a little bit higher. We really want to let go into the hips here. And then we're gonna place the right hand onto the lower back and start to open the right shoulder towards the sky. So as you do that, from your tailbone, you're almost unraveling your spine. Press into your left arm. opening up, gentle rotation. And if you want, you can reach your arm up. So it's not about giving a big swing to your arm. It's really about creating that rotation. Let your belly be half soft. So if you're too tight in the belly, nothing is going to happen. If you're too loose, you're going to collapse in your body. So we have to pay attention to everything in our body here. And then slowly coming back to center. This time, walk your hands a little bit back, then place them onto your thigh and release in the hips. So really going to get that opening into the groin area. Inhale, exhale. And then bring the hands back down, tuck your back toe, and lift your knee. From here, same thing. So we're still on the same leg. Bring your hands onto your thigh. Maybe you can come a little bit deeper. Press your heel back. And then lift your arms up. So here we're definitely strengthening in the legs. And then exhale, open towards the left. So towards the leg that's in the back. Open as if you were in a warrior two, but on a lunge position. And then inhale and open up. Lift your right arm up. You can place your left hand onto your back leg. Continue to be very open or deep into your legs. So if this is not stable for you, you can always drop your back knee. And then coming back, both arms to the center, and then open up to the other side. So opening to the right, long arms, twisting the spine. One more breath, and then inhaling up, exhaling, and downward facing dog. Ooh, that's gonna feel good. So when you're ready in your downward dog, what do you need now? Do you need to pedal it out? Do you want to dance? Or you just want to be static? Catch up with your breath. So still that inhale from the fingertips till the hips. And then from that place in the hips, exhaling towards the heels. And then this time, lift your left leg up, bend your left knee and open up. Stacking the hips on top of each other, pressing to your hands equally. Maybe your right heel is going to touch the floor. Keep on opening, but watch out that you don't curve your spine too much here. So the core is active. And then lift your left leg up and bring the left foot between your hands. Right knee comes down. So right wrist under the right shoulder. Take a breath in. And then place your left hand on your lower back and start to open up. So lifting the left shoulder up, opening up. Imagine really your spine. It's like creating a twist, a curl. Opening up, pressing into your hand. And then if you want, you can lengthen your left arm so that you have a straight line from your right hand to your left hand. And then coming back, bring your hands onto your thighs. Inhale, exhale, let it go. So letting go into the groin area. And placing the hands down, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and bring your hands onto your thigh. So press the back heel back leg is almost straight. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, go towards the right, so towards the leg that's in the back. Turn the front palm up and go for a warrior four, but in a lunge position with the legs. So different sensation, much more balancing here. And then bring the arms back up, look back to the front, and then exhale, open up towards the left. And then arms back up, exhale, bring the arms down, and retreat into your downward dog. So press the heels down, the hips up, the shoulders out, the thumb and the index pressing into the floor. And then bring the knees down. So with the lunges, we work quite a lot in the legs, especially also in the quads. So we're gonna go stretch them out. So depending, we're gonna do one leg at a time. Just, I know I need a blanket for this or a pillow. So grab something just in case that you might need it. Fold it to a decent height. You could do it with a block as well, but I find a block quite hard to sit on in general. So we're gonna extend our legs to the front. And then bring your left hand on the floor, lean towards the left, grab your right ankle with your right foot, and bend your right knee and bring your right foot, so the top of the foot on the floor, and the heel is next to your bum. So most probably you're leaning over to the left. So that's why you're gonna gently press up, put something under your left bum. Don't go too high, otherwise you will be leaning onto the right. So just find that right side and just know that one side can be very different than the other. So from here, your left leg is active. So your toes are pointing up, your upper body is long. Take a breath in. So if your knees are hurting here, drop yourself up under both bums. So if this is too much of a stretch for the knees, then you want to be much higher. You can even sit on a bolster here, you can go quite high. So from here, we're going to bring the hands to the back. Walk your hands back. So we're lowering our upper body. The right knee stays on the floor. We go down and down. The left foot presses down. And maybe you can be on your forearms. So continue to press our right knee down. If you want, you can gently touch your right foot with your right hand. If you want to go further, you can go deeper. You can go all the way down. But then I would suggest to take the support under your left bum away. Otherwise, you're going to be very imbalanced. So this is a big quadriceps stretch. I assume you feel it. Two more breaths here. Are you holding somewhere? Are you pushing somewhere? And it's possible you have to, otherwise you fall over or things are moving too much. So, but just becoming aware of it. Like sometimes we just do things out of automatism. I agree, we don't do this pose on a regular basis so that it becomes a habit, but definitely maybe the holding in the hips just because we don't want to overstretch in the quads. And then you're going to come up, but equally. So place your hands down and then press yourself up equally so that you don't want to waggle up. So place your right hand on your right ankle, lean over to the left so that you really have the space to keep the middle toes and the knees aligned, and then stretch out the right leg. Move your support to the other side if need be. So leaning over to the right, bending the knee, the left knee, grabbing the ankle, and then bring the foot next to your bum. So you don't want to be sitting on your heel. So if you're sitting much higher because of your knees, your feet are definitely on the outside. So don't put something too long. So if you need to put something underneath your right side to be equal, go for it. Keep your right leg very active. Inhale, lengthen. And maybe this is already enough for you. This is enough of a stretch. So don't force it. The muscles of the thigh are solicited all day long with everything we do. So if we injure them, it takes a very long time to heal. So we don't want that. Then again, bring the hands back, walk your hands back, maybe come onto your forearms, and maybe observe one side being very different than the other. Don't question it too much, just be a witness of your own body. Sometimes we had an injury and we know, yeah, that's normal. But maybe we can bring a little bit more movement, a little bit more space into that place. So continue pressing your left knee down. Your groin area is also opening up here. So if you're sitting up straight, then the groin is not going to open so much. Don't worry, we already did quite a lot of groin openings. So, and then 2 more breaths here. Equally pressing into your hands, coming up, leaning to the right, grabbing your ankle, and then bring the foot forward. So take your support away. If you know that when you sit, you're really rounding because you're sitting on the back of your sitting bones and coming to the front is not so easy. It's most probably it's because of hamstrings. So then what's a good trick is to sit on something and then from here just roll to the front so that you can move into the hips, tilt into the hips so that your hip crease becomes accessible to move forward. So separate your feet slightly, a little bit wider than your hips. Your toes are pointing up, your feet are very active, and we're gonna reach the arms up. So this is a fun one to do or against the wall or with someone else who's gonna start to pull at your arms. Make sure that your arms are straight, roll the shoulder blades down, and really creating that length. There's a lot of work happening in the spine here. So because our arms are up, if it's too much for your arms, bring your arms down or even next to your hips, but without pressing. So we really want to work the whole spine, lengthening, strengthening everything. And then take a deep breath in with your arms up. So from really find that the hip crease and start to fold a little bit forward. Don't get frustrated. We're not going to get very far here. So continue to reach your arms up and maybe go a little bit deeper. Don't bend your knees for now. Just see where your hamstrings are bringing you. No sensation in the lower back. So you continue to reach your arms forward for one more breath and then exhale, bring the arms down, but keep the spine long. So wherever your arms are going to touch, you can grab your legs. You can always put a strap around your feet and then bend the elbows so that you can really go and pull forward. But no sensation in the lower back. If the legs are straight, the hamstrings are stretching. If the hamstrings are at their max, it starts to pull on the lower back, and we don't want that. So wherever you are, roll the shoulders back, lengthen the spine, and maybe go a little bit deeper. It's really the breath that's going to do all the work here. So with an inhale, you create space inside. And with the exhale, you use that space to release a little bit more. And now, very gently, start to let go the head. Let go the shoulders. Round the spine. So if you need, bend your knees slightly. So just let it go, folding forward. And again, maybe you're not very far. Maybe you're just here. And that's very wise to stay there because you absolutely don't want to hurt your lower back. And then place your hands next to your legs and walk your hands back. So we don't want to suddenly start to work onto all those muscles that we just relaxed. So coming back up. We're gonna do a twist. So stay seated on your support if you need to. Bring your right leg in and then bring it over. So this is, in this case, you really seated on your two sitting bones. If you want to go a little bit further, you're going to bend your left knee and bring the left foot next to your right bum. So you're not sitting on your left foot, your right foot is pointing forward and is on the floor. So if you feel that you're really leaning to one side and not able to sit onto your both cheeks, then keep that left leg long. So first of all, this should already give a nice stretch into the right hip normally. So first of all, let's find length into the spine. You can hold onto your knee. Hold is a big word. Just place your hands around your right knee. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine. See if you can, as you exhale, create even more length between the crown of your head and your tailbone. Inhale, exhale. So now we're going to add the rotation. So reach your right arm up, lengthen out, create space, and as you exhale, use that space to create the flexibility to bring the right hand back and on the floor. So you're not really leaning into your right hand. It's touching the floor. You roll your right shoulder back, your shoulder blades go down. You want to bring your hand as close as possible to your bum. So if you need the block under your hand, go for it. Inhale, exhale, and then the left arm goes up. And I'm going to leave you the choice here. So reaching the left arm up, creating space, exhale. Bring the left elbow around the right knee. So watch out that you don't start to bend forward just for the sake of putting that elbow there. So if the knee is too far, then hug your knee and find that length again. If you're here, if your elbow is behind your right knee, you're really gonna find that space and then press your elbow into your knee. So using your own body to go a little bit further. And you can look back if you wanna add a rotation into your spine. And now just observe your breath. Two more breaths here. So the breath should be fluid, and with every exhale, maybe you feel something moved a little bit more backwards. And on an exhale, coming back to center. Maybe do a gentle counter rotation. Very gentle, just to unwind. Then place your hands in the back, undo your legs, lengthen them out for a minute. Bring your left leg in, so you want to be very close to your groin area, and then bring it over. And same thing, so if your knees are okay for sure, if you want to bend your left knee, keeping the right foot on the floor and staying straight. So for me, this side is very difficult with my scoliosis, so I'm definitely going to keep my right leg to the front. Otherwise, I'm leaning and creating all kinds of torsions before I go into torsion, and that's not healthy for the spine. So again, find your base. So the length in the spine, the seat, the space. And then inhale, reach the left arm up. Exhale, bring the left arm to the back, left hand on the floor on a block. Inhale, exhale. And then choose what you're going to do with the right arm. So lift it up. You can hug your knee or you can bring the elbow on the outside. So here for me, it's a hugging. Inhale, exhale. So sometimes when we have asymmetry in the body, we need to make some adjustments. Ideally, we are working towards symmetry in the body, but when it's a construction, when it's the bones, the skeleton, it's sometimes very difficult. The muscles can be adjusted. The bones, very difficult. And nobody is 100% symmetric. So just observe your own body. And just out of curiosity, maybe trying to get that symmetry. How does that feel when I'm working towards that? And eventually that's going to affect also your mind, your mood maybe, because the energies will flow more fluidly through your body. 2 more breaths here, maybe go back a little bit more. You have to continue to breathe in every pose that we do. And slowly coming back to center, gentle counter rotation. And then coming back. Undo your legs and this time open them up. So here definitively you want to be able to tilt into the hips. And for some people, it's a movement that they are not familiar with. So maybe take salsa classes. That's really the move of the hips tilting forward and tilting back. Toes are pointing up. So and the whole reason for that tilting is because we want to be able to bend from the hip crease. So knees are up, toes are up, legs are strong, upper body is strong. So you don't collapse into any part of your body here. You can bring your hands to the back. This time the fingertips are pointing back, roll the shoulders back, open the chest. And then maybe walk your hands a bit closer and start to fold from your hip crease, straight back. Inhale, exhale. If you're sitting on the front of your sitting bones, then you can bring your hands down maybe. So don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Feel what happens in your body. If with your hands back, you have a better support, you have to keep your spine straight, keep your hands in the back, stay onto your fingertips. You will collapse way less into the body if you stay onto your fingertips. If your hands are forward, maybe continue to move down so the spine is straight. My goal is not to kiss the floor. My goal is to keep my spine long, stretch the inner thighs. So again, don't overstretch here. No pain. And then start to drop your head, round your spine. So same thing as we did before. Maybe you come a little bit deeper. A few more breaths here. If you can't breathe fluidly, you're probably a little bit too deep. So come back up then and find your breath again before you start to stretch more. And then place your hands down and slowly coming back up. Bring your legs together, bring your hands in the back and just move your legs. So beach pose, relaxing here. And then bring your knees in, hug your knees. So you can place one hand behind each, below each knee, or hug your knees and just lengthen out your spine. So really, if you let go of your hands, you will probably fall back. So that's how much you have to hold into your body. And then release. Keep the knees bent. This time the feet are a little bit more to the front. Bring your hands behind your thighs. Roll the shoulders back. And then very slowly, one vertebra at a time, we're going to unroll our spine onto the floor. So if your feet start to lift, that's fine, don't worry. Bring your knees towards your chest and come all the way down with your head. We're gonna bring the arms in between the legs. So the knees are as wide as your hips. Grab the outside of your feet. So arms between the legs. It's not, if you're on the outside of the leg, we have not a lot of mobility. We're gonna work on the hips. So hands outside of the feet, or you can grab your ankles. Or if it's really too far for you, then just bring your forearms behind your thighs so that you can pull your legs in. And then start to lift your feet. So we're making straight corners between at the height of the ankle and at the height of our knee, straight corners. Your hands, if they are on your feet or on your ankle, what you're trying to do is bring the knees closer to the floor. So happy baby pose. So just imagine a baby, and you can roll gently from side to side, or you can just concentrate here and work with the breath with every exhale. Bring the knees a little bit lower. So watch out that you don't start to purely lift into the sacrum. So if your pubic bone is almost kissing your belly button, you're just rounding in the spine. You lessen the stretch in your hips. Inhale, exhale. And then bring your feet a little bit lower, let go of your hands, bring the knees together and open your arms in a T, and then gently move from side to side. So we're not bringing the knees very low, we're just moving onto the sacrum, moving a little bit lower, bring the knees at the height of the hips, the heels at the height of the knees. So just a little massage on the lower back. And then inhale, bring the knees over towards the right. Press your left shoulder into the floor. So if you don't reach the floor with your knees, put something underneath. We're working on opening in the chest here. Releasing everything. So the twist we did before sitting was more in the upper back. Now there is a bigger twist in the lower back, and of course all the internal organs are getting a little massage before lunch, hopefully before lunch, because if it's after lunch, it might not feel that comfortable. If you want to bring more weight or more stretch into the left hip, you can place your right hand onto your left thigh and gently press it closer to the floor, but your left shoulder remains on the floor. Let go of your left thigh if you were holding onto it, and then slowly come back to center. Readjust so that your heels are at the height of your knees, your knees above your hips. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, release to the left. Press the right shoulder down. Again, if you want, you can gently press onto your right thigh with your left hand, just to get a little bit more opening into the hip, the waist, a bit more rotation. If you need support under your left leg or in between your leg, go for it. So this is a good one to start your day, to open your spine, open or wake up your internal organs. And then a couple of cats and cows, and you're ready for the day. And when you arrive in the kitchen, hang at your counter. So place your hands at your sink and just push your hips back so you can find a long stretch in your spine and in your legs. And then let go of your hand. Bring the knees back up. And then bring the soles of the feet together and slowly bring the feet down so that the outer side of your feet is on the floor. Bring your hands in on your inner thighs and gently press the left hand inner thighs. So the right is gonna lift, that's okay. You don't wanna change the distance between the knees. So we're just gonna get massaging a little bit, this time more the tailbone. So moving from side to side, loosening that lower spine, that connection where everything gets together. And then release. Place the hands on the outside of your thighs. Bring your legs together. Bring your knees in. Hug your knees. Lift your head. Lift your shoulders. Make a little ball. Take a breath in and make the ball even smaller. Maybe you kiss your knees, maybe not. One more, and as you exhale, let go of your legs. Left heel goes towards the left corner, right heel goes towards the right corner. Flop your feet out. Bring your arms 45 degrees about. Make sure your shoulders are not hugged up. So if the shoulders are hugged up, press into your head, lift your shoulders, and roll the shoulder blades a little bit more under. And then wiggle so that you can find comfort. And observe your body as it's releasing all the tension built up through your practice, as it's taking in all the benefits from the poses. Keep your breath calm. Feel where the body touches the floor. And the body, you're not pushing down, so there is nothing that is done on purpose here. The weight of the body is supported by the floor, so it's more a pushing up from the floor as a support. And then yield into that support, so don't work against it, but just let it go. Let your body go. Trust. And from here, let's take a breath in consciously and exhale. Start to move the toes, the fingers, the nose, the ankles, the wrists, the head, the ears, whatever you want to move. Maybe bending the knees a little bit, maybe moving from side to side. Bring the legs together, take a breath in, extend your arms, stretch yourself out, maybe lengthen one side, the other side, and then exhale, bring the knees into the chest. And then roll over to the right side. You can stay here for a couple of breaths. I'm very tempted. I'm in full sun here. It's gorgeous. And place your left hand onto the floor. Lengthen your left leg so you have kind of a leverage. Press into your left hand. Keep your head heavy so the head is the last one to come up. And then come into your comfortable seated position. Whatever that is for you. So it's not the moment to find stretch, it's finding comfort without letting go or collapsing. Letting go in the mind, but not letting go in the body. Close your eyes, gently tuck your chin. Bring your hands in front of your heart. And thank you so much for sharing your practice and your energy. I wish you all wonderful times and hope to see you soon. Namaste.